Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Diablo 3. And there was only one thing that was ever going to get me to come back to Diablo 3. And wouldn't you know it, Blizzard went ahead and did it. This week, we've seen the release of the Rise of the Necromancer expansion for Diablo 3, and that particular expansion features my all-time favorite Diablo character, which is the Necromancer. And I know that a lot of you guys are going to be somewhat confused, because like, wait a second, Rurikhan, you're all about the tanking and the shields and all these other things. What the hell is going on? Why is the Necromancer your favorite character? And to be completely honest, I don't know how to answer that question. There was just something special about that class in Diablo 2, to the point where when Blizzard released Zool the Necromancer in Heroes of the Storm, I actually started playing Zool and started learning how to play Zool so that I could become pretty decent at him. Because even though he's a kind of character that I also don't usually play on MOBAs, it's just that much of an impact that the Necromancer from Diablo 2 had in me. I just really liked the concept of raising minions and just having an army of skeletons running around you. The Necromancer that I personally enjoy is the Minion Master type of Necromancer. There's multiple types of Necromancers that you can have. Like, you can have the ones that focus a lot on Bone Spirit, and I'm talking specifically about old Diablo 2 builds, but my thing was always like minions. I enjoy having minions, even though back in the day, like in the early days of Diablo 2, minions were pretty damn weak. They only became stronger later down the line after quite a few patches. But yeah, I have to say, it felt very nice playing a Necromancer again in Diablo 3. And I know that there's going to be a lot of elitist people who are going to say, it's not the same thing as Diablo 2, the Diablo 2 version, and back in my day, and all these other things that people are going to say. And it's like, you have to remember something. Diablo 3 is a modern game. There are a lot of mechanics that simply can't come back, like the whole management aspect of managing your big army of minions. It can't be as complicated or as complex as it was back in the Diablo 2 days. So obviously they simplified it. They changed quite a few things about that mechanic, like for instance, skeleton warriors. It's actually a really simple skill. It just like keeps summoning warriors automatically. You don't even have to do anything. It's just a passive skill that there's always warriors, skeleton warriors being resummoned. They die, they get instantly resummoned. You don't need corpses. You don't need anything. And I know that some people are going to say, oh, that's such a casual thing, but it's like, it's a mechanic, and it works as a mechanic in the concept of the Diablo 3 Necromancer. At least, in my opinion, it works as a mechanic, and it just makes the whole thing more fun. Now, what other things does the Necromancer bring? Do you have to just be a Minion Master? No, there are plenty of options. You will see Corpse Explosion making a comeback. As a matter of fact, you can even be Minion Master and have some really powerful Corpse Explosion. Of course, even though Corpse Explosion is a lot of fun, they've actually introduced some new skills that I enjoy even more than Corpse Explosion. So Corpse Explosion is kind of like literally a blast from the past, but there is a new skill that I personally enjoy more, which is the Corpse Lance, I believe that's the name, which basically you can weaponize corpses and they become like a spell that hits your enemies for quite a huge percentage of spell damage. I don't even remember what the exact, it was like 1,000-something%. And it's really good. Particularly because you generate a whole bunch of resources, as a whole bunch of corpses as you destroy your enemies, and then you utilize those to kill the next group of enemies. There's an interesting balance to playing the Necromancer between his essence and generating essence, and then you also generating corpses and utilizing those corpses to attack your enemies. Revive is another spell that also makes a comeback. Most of the spells that you have seen in the Necromancer from Diablo 2, those make a comeback. Not all of the curses, though. I mean, actually, maybe all of the curses if you count the runes. I'm not going to get into big detail about all of the skills that you have available to you and all this stuff. What I'm here to talk about is the nostalgia factor, because to me, that is what was most essential to the Necromancer experience. And does he bring a really cool nostalgia factor with the skills that he unlocks? And my answer to that is yes. Yes, he does. It's like for everyone that played the Necromancer back in Diablo 2, I don't think you guys are going to be disappointed, depending on how much you like Diablo 3. Because I know that a lot of people that have played Diablo 3, they're like, oh, Diablo 3 is not as good as Diablo 2 and all this, and I wish I could put my points into stats and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, look, to each his own, is all I'm going to say when it comes to that stuff. What I can tell you is if you enjoyed Diablo 3, you're definitely going to enjoy the Necromancer. However, I do have a couple of criticisms that I would like to make, and that is the Necromancer feels considerably more powerful at early levels, mind you. I've only played him through the first act at this point. But in the early levels, he feels considerably more powerful than other characters. I was doing a live stream, for those of you that were watching the live stream the other day, and I played it on the maximum difficulty that I was allowed because I actually lost my save that I had on my PlayStation 4, so basically I can only go expert if I go hardcore. So I was playing hardcore, expert, Necromancer, and usually you, with other characters, you will get into a situation like maybe you'll find an enemy that has a couple of tweaked out stats, and he's going to hit you a couple of times, and you will actually have to resort to your potion. Well, guess what? I didn't have to resort to my potion even once. And I don't think I was ever in actual danger of dying. To the point where I think there was only like one minion that was somewhat threatening because he had the cold frost things that would freeze you. And I got frozen twice. But even still, even with that, it was just like... Because I was doing Minion Master, which I guess you kind of expect that kind of performance. But it just feels way too powerful. Now, there is a cool balance with the character, however, that it felt very refreshing. Like, all the characters in Diablo 3, they all have their own resource management abilities with your generators and your spenders and all this other stuff. Some of them a little bit more complex, like Demon Hunter, which has the hatred and the other thing. I don't play Demon Hunters, but, you know, she has to juggle a little bit with that. But most of the other characters are more straightforward with... You have your resource pool, you use your resource pool, and then you have to use your generator to get more resources. Unless you're running a more advanced build and you have special set pieces and all this other stuff. I'm talking about the more basic experience. With the Necromancer, there's an interesting juggling of resources because you have your resource, which is essence, and you have your generators, but you also have you also have a second resource that you generate as you kill monsters in the battlefield, that resource being corpses. And utilizing the corpses makes it becomes challenging in a way to optimize your rotations and all this other stuff, because you're like, okay, so here's my generator, here's my spender, here's all the skills that I can use in between, and then you're like, and here is this new resource that I have that I can also utilize, and I can also create that resource, because you also get the golem, and the golem can generate corpses by itself. He like jumps in and explodes into corpses, which is really, really cool. Golem also looks amazing, in my opinion. The revives are also a lot of fun, but basically the way most summons work is everything is temporary, at least with the skills that I've unlocked so far, apart from your skeletal warriors. Skeletal warriors is usually the only thing, and the golem. Skeletal warriors and the golem is usually the stuff that you have with you. Then you can summon the skeleton mages, and you can summon revives, and you can summon a lot of stuff. There's even in the longer cooldown type of skills, you know, every character has like their longer cooldown skills. There's one which is, I think, Army of the Dead. And Army of the Dead is just so good. And the damage on that thing is, it's 12,000% weapon damage. And I was just like, what? I think that might be the highest damage value I've seen in Diablo. Or is it not? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played Diablo 3. But like, 12,000% is a whole lot. And the animation of it is just like this big circle of skeletons raising from the earth and then suddenly rushing against your foes. Almost like in Lord of the Rings, where you have that scene where the wraiths just like all are swarming the orc army and the Mordor armies. But that's kind of like the thing you get, the feeling of the undead suddenly rushing in and just assaulting one target. That is very satisfying. Most of the skills that I've unlocked while I was playing the live stream were very, very satisfying. As a matter of fact, I plan to live stream that a bit more. And it's just been a whole lot of fun. If you guys enjoy the gameplay that you're watching in this video, then I would recommend that you guys check it out. I mean, I know that at this point, a lot of people have done videos on it. A lot of people have done videos to the point where it's like, here's the set that you need, and here's the stats that you need, and all this other stuff, because they played it in the PTR. But the Necromancer holds a special place in my heart, and that's why it took me this long to make this video, because I wanted to wait until the final thing so that I could check it out and really see what Blizzard has done. And I'm going to continue playing it. I'm curious to know what your opinion is on it. Is the Necromancer something that is going to get you guys to play Diablo 3 again? Do you have good memories of the Necromancer back in the Diablo 2 days? That is something that I want to know. Leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys very much for watching. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and leave a like in the video if you really enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next one.